Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for watching Smart 24 TV, and we drive your business. My name is Anthony, and I am your host for Financial Markets, where we talk different investments that you can make for yourself in these financial instruments and make a return. The show is proudly brought to you by Altex East Africa. Now, if you don't know about Altex, you can Google. But I can tell you something about Altex. Altex is an exchange, a private stock exchange. This exchange offers different services, including equities, including exchange traded funds, and most recently, they have been able to offer the debt instruments. We're talking treasury bonds. You can now be able to lend to governments in East Africa, in Uganda, in Kenya, and in Tanzania via your smartphone or your small phone without need to access the internet. You can dial USSD code *292#. And when you do so, you will be able to access the markets and be able to buy or even sell bonds on the secondary market. Now, Altex has partnered with MTN Uganda to make this possible, that now you can be able to transfer funds from your MTN mobile money onto Altex East Africa and be able to buy different bonds or even sell and access the money on your MTN Momo without any intermediates. Of course, they also know that many people out there would want to learn more about their products, so you can still have an option to learn more via the same USSD code, or you can visit them online at www.altexeastafrica.com. And when you do so, they will educate you about everything, absolutely everything that you need to know about the markets and how you can get started. Altex markets open at 15 minutes past the hour of 8 and close at 15 minutes past the hour of 3 p.m. During the day, that is in the weekly days, Monday to Friday. Altex East Africa, do something new. Now, before we went for the break, we looked at the USE markets here in Uganda, and we appreciate the fact that we had 3 companies participating, and MTN was one of them. Let's have a look at MTN, because he came out as a top gainer as well as a mover on the top mover on the market. MTN Uganda, definitely the most recently listed stock on the Uganda Stock Exchange, looking at its market capitalization currently at 4.1 trillion. That is the value of the shares held at MTN Uganda on the Uganda Stock Exchange. Now, the company currently is the second most valuable in terms of stock value, that is market capitalization, at 18.9% of the entire equity market being held by the company at the moment. Yesterday, the company gained 0.93 points, or rather Ugandan shillings, on their stock price, ending at 183.0. Now, if you have been following MTN, starting the week, they started quite weakly with several losses that were encountered on their stock price. But as we wind up the week, we're seeing that they are starting to rally, and today we don't know what could happen. We hope that they could push until 185 shillings or so and probably go back to 190. Well, the company has had several turbulent times on the stock market in terms of course, pricing. The company came on board the exchange with an initial public offer, which was, by the way, one of its kind, electronic in nature, 100% electronic. And they came in with a price of 200 shillings. And the first investors that bought shares in this company definitely still feel the pinch, because they have not been able to gain that money back since last year on the 6th of December. However, the company was able to decline in price for this period after the initial public offer going onto the secondary market. It declined from 200 shillings to close to 160 shillings in less than 2 months. That is before the month of February. We wound up before the month of February. Now, at this moment, definitely the wise men got into the market. And yes, if you bought at 160, you are definitely enjoying value on the MTN stock. And currently, of course, at 183, the company gained from 160 to 180 and has been trading since March between the values of 180 and 190, with lows at least of about 175 around the month of July, in the middle, or at the beginning rather, of the month of July 2022. Now, MTN stock has quite also been traded within these last 3 months, in the last quarter. For example, let's look at the value of their shares. They have had about 10.1 million shares within the last 3 months, from the 29th of July to the 27th of October. Now, that's not a joke, but not as if that is not enough. On average, they have had about 160,865 shares that have been recorded per trading session within this period, which is quite also an interesting, a very interesting figure as well. And looking at their year-to-date performance, it doesn't look so good, of course, due to the factors I've already explained, starting at 200 shillings, moving down to 190, 180, and to below 160, 150, 160 rather, in the month of March. It wasn't a good time for them, and their year-to-date is still on a loss of 6.15%, as they began the year with 194.99 Ugandan shillings. However, the company, as I've already mentioned, is still trading well on the stock exchange, and currently their intensity has gone down a little bit, but they still are holding their ground. And now with this gain, we are hoping even today we shall have a better performance of the company. And definitely I would still advise many people to buy stock into MTN. It is a telecommunications company, and the only one at the moment. We of course have had rumors, we don't know how true they are, that we could have other telecommunications companies in Uganda, particularly Airtel, come on board at the Uganda Stock Exchange, which could create some bit of competition as well. It's a good thing. However, we still are hopeful that MTN stock will be a profitable stock in the future. And that's it from MTN. Wumeme was the top mover. I wouldn't want to talk about Wumeme pretty much because they didn't have any gain on the price. They're still stuck at 200 shillings. But we have to say that they are the best performers, one of the best performers in terms of year to date, after a gain of 5.89% from 189 to 200 shillings on their year to date performance. And in terms of trading, they still have a good job done so far, as they are the second most traded stock. However, in terms of turnover, they have beaten all the stocks on the Uganda Stock Exchange. This was particularly after their day of trading. There's a day when they registered over 1.96 billion last week, and definitely this moved the markets crazy. But MTN, Wumeme is still one of those companies that are giving us value for money at the moment on the stock exchange, and also coming at a very resilient price. They have maintained the 200 shilling price for quite some time. And of course, they were shaken a little around the month of July from over 225 on average, and now down to 200 shillings at the moment. And of course, that was a time when they were declaring a dividend of over 54.9, which definitely attracted investors into the company, but still a resilient stock and a stock to keep for the future as well. My friends, that's it from the Uganda Stock Exchange. Now, allow me cross over to Nairobi and have a look at the land of Uhuru and Ruto to see how much we had on their markets as well. Now, remember the Nairobi market, pretty much more diversified in terms of the product structure. They do have derivatives, they do have ETFs, treasury bonds, and other products, as well as equities on their stock exchange. Of course, being the oldest stock exchange, this is not least expected. Now, the company yesterday, I call it a company because they are demutualized. They have decided to demutualize, that is during their 2014 initial public offer, making the exchange a public company. Now, the exchange did have a good day of trades on Thursday after they had about 0.95 appreciation in the points there on the benchmark index, which is the all share index there on the stock exchange. And looking at, for example, their top gainers here, we had 49 participants in the market out of the 65, which is a slight decline, at least in the number of participants from previous data this week. They have had about averages of 50 to 51 on average, especially this week and last week. But still, this is fairly a good performance. With 49 participants, we had about 17 gainers and 25 losers. Guess who came on top this time? Crown Paints. Yes, a loser on the day before came at the top of the markets this time round. Crown Paints led the gainers at a 7.02% gain that was registered on the market, appreciating to over 41.9 Kenyan shillings at the moment. And Unga Group also came in at a 5% gain on the market, whereas East African Cables gained at 4.67% as well. The BK Group also gained, that's Bank of Kigali, gained at 4.17% on the market. On the losing side, we had about, let's see, Car and General Kenya, who came out with an end of day price depreciation of 6.57%, and Britam Holdings as well at a 5.67%. Now let's look at the top movers. Well, Equity Group Holdings is still driving the markets crazy in terms of shares. And right now we're looking at Equity Group Holdings putting Safaricom on the sidelines in terms of trading volumes, with Equity now coming at an over 2.18 million shares volume on the market. And this is the third day in a row that Equity is coming on top of the top movers. Kenya Power and Lighting Company also came in closely, competing at a 1.49 million volume, whereas Cooperative Bank of Kenya came in at a 963,300 shares. Safaricom was nowhere this time around in the top movers. We don't know what could be happening at Safaricom, but we used to sing Safaricom among the top movers, and that's the top three movers, usually even the biggest mover on the market, but not this time at the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Now, regarding the performance of the NSE All Share Index, we had about 0.95 appreciation in the points there, and these points moved to close to 129.63, which is a still pretty good movement on the NSE All Share Index. The benchmark, rather other indexes also that performed were the NSE 20 and the NSE 25. However, the NSE 20, tracking the aggregate performance of the top 20 stocks, declined by 0.09%, whereas the NSE 25 appreciated at 0.41% on the Nairobi Stock Exchange. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our time is fast spent. That's it from the Thursday trades. The market is open right now as of Friday, and definitely the markets will close until Monday. I'll catch you then, same time, same place. Remember to save and invest. Financial Markets at Smart 24 TV. We drive your business. Bye for now.